I turn the camera the other way?
Sure, if you want, or I can do this.
No, let's do that. Hey,
How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Doing okay. I was just telling them about my power outage woes.
Oh, no, I know.
If you see some sweat beads dripping down, you know, it's not you.
It's okay. I just wanted to make sure I got it all right here.
You're on time. You look beautiful.
Thank you.
And we have our thank you for choosing the Bail Project. It's one of my favorite organizations. So for those of you who are just joining, there is an organization that Portia chose. It helps families, help family members out with the presumption of innocence. And it's really just an amazing organization.
Indeed.
You're welcome to donate. You don't have to donate. You can join and support that way. If you have a couple dollars that you want to throw our way, we're more than happy to see it. If you go to donate, it will take you out of the live, just so you know, but you can join right back. No biggie. And then we'll have this up on IGTV after. So don't worry. Don't think, I don't want to go donate. No, you won't miss out. So just wanted to say that. Thank you for choosing that.
Thank you. It's a great charity indeed.
Yeah. So I'm so excited to chat with you. You know, VO is such a, it's a really fun place to be and a really sought after place to be for actors. And obviously I work on camera and theatrical, so I don't dive into that as much. Sometimes we do cast VO roles, but usually we don't. So I always love to talk to, amazing, knowledgeable people like yourself.
Thank you.
Information. So yeah, just to start, I just would love to hear, your story, how you got into the industry, how you fell into all.
Sure. Becoming a voiceover agent really wasn't part of my plan. It wasn't the direction I was headed. So I really did fall into it. My background is as an actor. So I had, lived in New York, went to NYU, did theater, graduate at NYU, and did lots of theater. And that was just the road I was on. And then I came back to Los Angeles and mounted a one-woman show and all these other things. And during the break from the one-woman show, which was really successful and really great and fun, I took a little holiday down to Jamaica, and I broke my ankle. And which would really, it's important to mention because it really sort of changed the entire course I was on. Having recovered from the broken ankle, I was like, oh, I don't know. Do I want to do acting? What do I want to do? And I was in my late 20s at that time. And I was like, what am I going to do? And I thought, oh, you know what I really liked? I liked the development portion of the one-woman show I did. So that's it. Let's go into development, blindly making choices. Fortunately, that's what I did. I worked in development at Universal for quite a few years, and then I also worked in marketing and music, and I worked in all these different areas. And then an opportunity came up for me then I went from development to casting, and then from casting I was in between projects, and an opportunity came for me to work at an agency, and it was just the agent left, fill in till we hire someone, and I was like, am I going to get cash? Am I going to get the trades? Yes, I'm in. So really, I took that job, and that was a job that it was an agency position and it was voiceover. And I was like, oh, this is so much fun. I loved the part back in the days when we used to go into the booth and direct the actors, because that's not so much now.
Right.
But I got an opportunity to work with the actors, which was fantastic because I felt really qualified to do that because I could talk to them about making choices and acting, and which is what voiceover is. It is a lot of acting,
right?
Not just doing funny voices.
Right.
So I took that job, which led to 5 years at that agency. Then I went on to another agency for another 5 years, and I've been at my lovely home, Coast to Coast Talent Group, for 11 years, I think, next month. So that's kind of how I started as an agent. It's sort of the thing I say that you really bring all of your skill set with you no matter what you're doing.
Right.
You know, so even though my journey was to be an actor, and you never know, I always say when I retire, I try to stay friends with all of the young agents.
Yeah.
So that, you know, maybe one day they'll represent me. But till then, so it's just all sort of, you know, where I found my home and where I'm really comfortable. And I love voiceover because, you know, I do get to download, listen to the actors, make adjustments, and bring all of my skill set to listening for, you know, their reads. So that's a long story how I got started.
Thanks to the ankle.
Thanks to the ankle. I mean, really, it's, you know, things in your life you think that are going to be a stop, and oh no, this is, you know, oh my goodness, I thought I was going to get my own TV show because I had a one-woman show. Just didn't turn out like that, do you know? And so this is my journey, so which I'm happy to be on.
And it's an amazing one for sure.
You.
You mentioned a lot of actors not going into the booth anymore, and I think everyone in casting at some point has made that sort of mid-career crisis. Maybe I should try being an agent. I don't know. I think all of us have had that moment, like, and years ago I had.
I think we froze
during these before, so that's just what happens. Sorry.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Happens, at least it brings you right back. But sure enough, I was, you know, I love actors, but maybe, you know, I really want to be able to advocate more. Maybe the agency route is the right thing for me. So anyway, also fell into the VO department. And for us, this was a long time ago. This was like nearly 10 years ago. It was all, whenever there was an audition, they would always come into the booth and we would always direct them that way.
Right.
So I'm interested, since I've been so out of that game, how often you would say that's still the case versus just an at-home setup.
So I think you said, how often do we bring actors in? I'm going to bridge the gap there. Yeah. Well, you know, it's interesting. We at Coast to Coast Talent Group Voiceover, we haven't really been bringing actors in for the last 3 years. So consequently, when we went down with the pandemic, you know, at the end of March there, we were ready to go. Yeah. A lot of my clients already had Source Connect, which is everything you need to have in the world of voiceover today. So we were really we just made the pivot and started, you know, submitting and submitting, you know, sending the auditions out to the actors, submitting back to casting. So really, in this day and time, should we ever get back to the office, hopefully, we occasionally bring the actors in if there's a special casting. Okay. Some buyers don't like to release material. It's, you know, everything is so heavily NDA protected these days. Yeah. And so we occasionally may have the casting director come to our office, host the auditions there with the casting director at the CTC VO studio. And then we work that way, but really it's, you know, obviously in these days, it's 100% no studio auditions. The clients are all submitting from their home studio and working that challenge out. So it's really, it's just not something that is so common anymore.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same self-tapes, you know, we've been moving towards self-taping, not exclusively and definitely not as much recording at home, but it's a really helpful tool when we have a last minute role thrown at us, or you know, we're just not finding something, the role shoots the next day, we don't have the bandwidth to hold more sessions. So so, you know, there's a lot of actors who I know have been acting for a while on camera and they're interested in branching into VO. What would you say are some of the steps that they should take?
Absolutely. So it's first and foremost, you know, it's really about putting on your skill set where you can improv. So a lot of our live action actors are, you know, really, really married to the material, and it has to be delivered as written. Although, you know, that's true in maybe areas of commercial and some areas of animation and what have you, but being able to bring that subtext that you're working on, that internal work that you have, being able to drop some of that into the read is gold in voiceover. So I would say there's that, and also adding vocal physicality. You know, when you're doing live action because you're playing to camera, you know, all of this sort of big movement and like that is obviously very discouraged.
Yeah.
However, in animation, because we remove sight, we can do that. So it is really being able to have the vocal physicality in the voice and the bend in the voice, so that you have to be reminded that you are telling a story to a listening audience and not a viewing audience. So that is, I think, one of the biggest transitions the live action actors need to adjust for voiceover.
Got it. So similar in a sense, I've passed a couple of videos, and that's such a different audition. I mean, they really want big, you know, and like big, and it's such an adjustment, kind of keeping it really smaller and or for TV and film. So I guess, you know, some great improv classes, maybe.
Absolutely.
There's obviously some, I'm sure, some great VO classes out.
Yeah, they're great VO classes. I would say get into any of the online workout groups where you can sort of, you know, get a read up. What's so fascinating about our time right now is the workout groups. You know, you have everybody in the room. I like to say now everybody is in the booth, because before, you know, you do a workout, you go up to the mic, maybe go behind a closed door, the rest of the room is on the other side. Well, now everyone is in the booth because we're all, you know, virtual. So it's an amazing time to get in and build your craft and work out. And it's a daily thing. Just like, you know, athletes have to stay trained and fit right now who are not, you know, in the game, but they have to be ready for the game as if it were tomorrow. Same thing for the artist. You have to keep training, keep working out so that you can have that, so you can be ready to go. Because, you know, we're sending out coast to coast voiceover. We're sending out, you know, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of auditions, commercial, animation, video game.
Right now.
Yeah. Right now. So it's, you know, I spent the whole morning downloading auditions to send on to casting. So it is, you know, a process.
Yeah. Would you say it's more busy now than it has? Because,
absolutely. It's busier now. It's busier now because I think that particularly the animation buyers realize this is the part of business that is moving forward, and we can actually audition. The actors can work from home, which is happening. So I think they took all of their development content and they pushed it to Greenlight. So I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, there's that project. So, and I'm really happy now that we also have a voiceover commercial agent at Coast to Coast, TCDC. So if you're out there, hey, TCDC. So I'm super happy to have that, because that sort of takes, because I'm mostly animation and was building out into the world of commercial, and now we're getting as busy on that side. So it's a good time.
Yeah, it's a great time to be in VO.
Great. Yes. Who knew?
Who would know? Who would know? I'm glad some of us are, you know, pushing forward. So let's talk about reels. You know, for us, theatrically, obviously, for live action on camera, reels are kind of for us. We really rely on that to be able to see an actor's ability before we bring them in, so we can make smart choices and not waste time. Is that important on the VO side?
Oh my goodness, yes. Voiceover reels are more important now than they ever were. You know, once upon a time, way back in the day, voiceover reels were sort of a vanity project of the voiceover departments. We would compile all the actors onto one reel and we'd present that out to various buyers and say, hey, here are the coast to coast talent. You know, and we would present that. But now it's not that. They are tools that are desperately needed. Different reels are needed in different ways, depending on the genre of voiceover. So there's the commercial reels, which are essential, because what happens is a commercial casting director will put out a breakdown, and they'll want to hear the talent, their reels, before we actually get the time to have them audition for that particular content.
Right.
So a reel representing who you are, your brand, and all the things you do are essential for us, the agents, to be able to get you the time to compete on the project. Yeah. Those are commercial reels. Yeah. Animation reels are often used in a couple of ways. Animation reels are used by actors to garner voiceover agents. Okay. And for agents, animation reels are when I'm pitching on a project. When there's really not a script, they're thinking about, they're not, they have a few sides, and they want to hear the vibe of the voice before they send the sides to us. So sometimes there's that. So I'll use the animation reel as a tool to pitch talent. So those are, at least for me, the areas where voiceover reels are essential.
Super important. So, we always tell actors, feel as though you don't have enough footage, or you don't have footage that's really accurately trained where you're at, what you do, that you can go out kind of create your own content, usually in the form of like a self-tape or something. Is that kind of this? Would you recommend the same thing to a viewer?
No, not at all. Not at all. No, because the demos are the tools to get you the opportunity to be heard. So they really have to be professional. They have to be competitive. They have to represent you, sort of like your headshot, right? You walk in the room and your headshot doesn't look like you have a problem. Same thing in voiceover. If you're presenting a demo that's not really you, right, or it's really overproduced, right, or you're doing all these weird voices that aren't really connecting to real people and humanity in that way. They have to be really good representations of who you are, and they have to be professionally produced. It's competitive. Voiceover is the I know it when I hear it business. So you're only as good as what you've produced. So it should be professional and well done. Yeah.
So what would you recommend for just starting out who, obviously it's kind of this catch-22. Like, I haven't booked any VO jobs. I don't have anything to make a reel, but I know I'm training a lot and I'm working really hard. Is sort of just this, you kind of have to wait it out, or?
Well, I would say no. Yes and no, actually. I would say if you're just starting out, don't make a reel. No, you're not ready to work. If you're just starting out, right? Let's take it out of the entertainment side as an example. Right. If you were an athlete, if you were wanting to be a track and field, you wouldn't just get up and start running, the 200 meter or what have you. Obviously, I know nothing about track and field. I don't know why I said that, but you understand. You would be training, as anything. If you were a musician, a dancer, you would be training that skill set. Because what you don't know is when you start off in one place and you start training, your skill set, your craft, everything is going to be at a different place. Right. You're going to ideally be better than where you started. So my suggestion is, build a curriculum for yourself. If you really want to do voiceover, build a curriculum, find an area that you want to work in and start there. No, you can't do it all. I'm going to say it one more time. No, you can't do it all. Pick a lane, stay in it, get really good in that lane. And then once you've trained, you've worked out, you have an idea about your brand and who you are commercially or character-wise. You've got not funny character voices, but you have different variables of you showing your acting, your craft. When you're ready, then I say go make a demo and then start out and try and get an agent. Gotcha. And start out, if you're non-union, start out in a smaller place. Don't try to get into the bigger agencies because the competition is so fierce. Build it up. Book some jobs, grow a little bit, and then after some time, if you've been at an agent and you're doing well and you've booked in your lane, then maybe consider somewhere else, maybe a bigger place, or maybe now you're union and you want to go to a more of a union house. So those are the things that I would say would work most effectively when starting out.
Yeah, that's actually a good question because a few times we have had roles that we were a little confused by roles.
You were confused by, I'm sorry, Nadia?
In roles. Because I remember we did a mini-series for Hulu called 1163, and we had to cast the role of JFK's voice. So we're like, we can do this, no problem, release the breakdown. And a lot of people weren't SAG. And we were like, well, it's not on screen. So that, I don't know, can you talk a little bit? I don't know.
So you broke up just a little bit. So you're talking about union work versus non-union? Is that?
Yeah. I mean, what are, like, I assume a lot of the work is union. Can Taft-Hartley more with, oh, what are kind
Well,
of,
it's I would say for me, I can't sort of answer for all of the community, but I would say for me, majority of my animation is union with the majors, Sony, DreamWorks, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, so forth. So majority of my content is union on the animation side, with then video game as well, some non-union in video game. And the biggest non-union side of business is the commercial area. There's commercial union, there's union commercial and quite a bit of non-union commercial.
oh, got it.
So we, with my...
Oh, I think it's going to pause for a second.
Sorry about that.
Is because I can't be connected to Wi-Fi because I don't have power. So sorry, guys. I'm relying on my,
It's okay. No, that blackout was just me having a phone call. So sorry. And you can't put it on airplane mode because then we couldn't do it.
I know.
So yeah, it's a little bit of a mix, but majority of the content that I service, Coast to Coast Voice, is union.
So how often, if ever, are you or a production willing to tap Hartley, a VO actor? Is it not?
I'm happy to say I have had 5 Taft-Hartleys within the last 2 weeks. So, and I don't get to Taft-Hartley. God knows if I could Taft-Hartley, I'd Taft-Hartley everybody. But no, that is solely up to the production company. And yeah, I literally had 5 of my non-union clients who are now happy, are Taft-Hartley and have the option to join when they're ready to do so. So I am always looking for that opportunity. I'm not particularly stopped by, if I have a really fantastic talent who is non-union, I'm submitting them as much as I can. I hope I don't get in trouble for saying that, but somebody has to give them an opportunity. So there it is. Yeah. So that is very, very common in my house, as it were.
That's great. I mean, it's a lot easier from my perspective, it's a lot easier to get SAG to approve a Taft-Hartley for film and commercials than it is for TV. It's just a lot.
That makes sense.
Easier. Not necessarily for television, but hey, if you can get it some other way, go with God.
I agree.
What are some of the biggest mistakes that you would see of some VO actors do either early on in their career?
Yeah, one of the biggest mistakes is really thinking that you can work in all areas of voiceover. So, I might get a reel that for someone who isn't really aware that they would have, let's say it's an animation reel that's got video game on it, because video game voiceover is different than animation and how it's delivered, how it's acted. So they'll mix up that, or they'll have like impressions. So it's just, I think the biggest thing I notice is not being clear about where your strength is.
Yeah.
And it is this misnomer that voiceover is just doing all of these funny voices, and it's really not. It's about acting. You really need to have an acting, if you don't have an acting background, you have to develop one. So that is, I think, the biggest mistake or misnomer that I see happening amongst the actors, just sort of thinking you can do everything. And really we can't. We're really good at not a lot of things. At least that's true for me. I have my lane and I'm in it.
Right. Niche,
That's right. Yeah.
And that's something that I see too, a lot of reels with comedy and drama and this, and I'm just like, whoa, I prefer everything to be separated because I usually work on dramas and I'm not looking for comedy for, a serial killer role or whatever.
Right.
Nice to have that separated and not have us, have to skip around to find what we're looking for. So, similar there too. So, I want to talk about the holy grail of the voiceover world, which I guess is still the voiceover world. And I talked about it a little bit before here, and now I can't. Now my inbox is just loop group. Like, And I'm like, everyone wants to get in. It's like the most sought after job, especially in this world too. Do you work at all with loop group?
Well, as a matter of fact, I do. In fact, 2 of those Taft-Hartleys were through a
wow.
ADR session. That's right. Yeah,
wow.
I'm very fortunate. I have, one very particular ADR casting director who, when I first stepped into the business as a voiceover agent, brought opportunities, and we have had now 23 relationships. So I do quite a bit. I get a lot of opportunity from her, and consequently we book quite a bit. So I'm fortunate that ADR looping is definitely a really strong part of our opportunities that we provide for our clients. Yes.
That's hard, right? You kind of have to, you have to do it with the right agent. You have to really know the right people. My understanding is that it's, there's these, like you said, ADR casting directors or directors maybe who kind of direct the room.
Even some of the actors are directors and put together the loop groups as well. So
yeah.
Yes.
And I think you can sometimes apply for these loop groups.
That I don't know. I'm not so sure, but it is a relationship based part of the industry. It is sort of knowing, like I say, I've been a voiceover agent for 22, 23 years. So that's a long time to know a lot of people. And those are relationships that are established early on in my career. And they're still in place today, even in the place that when the original person who was casting sort of transitions out and the next person that comes up, you're still on the list, you're still in the game. So it really is 22, 23 years. I'll have to get that number right. Of relationships that provide the opportunities. So
amazing.
I would definitely say it's heavily relationship based.
Yes. We have a couple questions up on the screen that I'll put on here. Someone said, oh, I forgot. Guys, sorry. I can't display questions when we have a fundraiser up on the screen.
Oh, okay.
Read these. Someone said, what about, like if you speak a specific language, like she was asking about Spanish, should she have a separate reel just with that Spanish clip or like a special language reel?
It just, the answer to that question, it is depending on how developed you are in that area.
Yeah.
Do if you've done, if you're a seasoned voiceover professional, absolutely. You have a Spanish demo, you have an English demo, absolutely, because we're going to want to send, if I'm dealing with a Spanish, a buyer who's looking for Spanish talent, I'm going to want to just send them, and they want it, it's all in Spanish. I don't want to send them any English. I want to send them the full, demo with all of that content on it. So it just depends. If you're starting out, you might want to blend a little Spanish, a little English, a little bit in that respect. So, or if it's not just Spanish, whatever other languages, Korean or what have you. So,
Right. Someone was also asking about kids.
Oh, yes.
Start out. Do they need reels as well, or how should they?
The kids reels aren't, the kids reels I don't need in full development in the way that I need the adult reels. Those don't have to be, because, the cost to produce a reel is, I think at a minimum $1,800, $2,000, and with yes, it is an investment
because it's high quality and
absolutely it's high quality, and then someone's working with you with material and trying to bring out your brand, your read. There's a whole process that goes with it. So, and because the kids' voices change so frequently, I don't think that it's prudent to invest that kind of money and then in a year it's going to be different. So I think with the kids we get a little bit of a pass. We don't need them. I just need a couple of different samples clicked together that I can send in, and I really only need that in a commercial way. With the kids, if there's if we're casting, if a role is casting for youth, we're going to get the sides, we're going to send them out, and they're going to turn it around and deliver us what we need. So
someone said, if I'm repped at an agency for commercially, is it okay to be at another one for VO?
Absolutely. VO commercial versus
on camera commercial, and then can I have a VO agent?
Oh, yeah, no, it just all depends. You can, I mean, legally, you
Yeah.
can be at, coast to coast for voiceover and another agency for on camera.
Right.
Absolutely. Non-issue, non-problem. Happens all the time. I'd venture to say most of my clients are solely with me for voiceover with, a good sampling that are at the agency across the board, more so on my youth talent base, are more across the board than just solely.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything over here. We kind of answered the Tapped Hartley stuff. So my question for you is if there's a lot of doing it at home, DIY, and you're not getting, I remember, like I said, I remember actors coming into the booth and we would do it a million times, couple to 3 times. And they're kind of left to their own devices. So, do you ever work with them virtually? Do you ever give them redirects and have them do it again before you send it to casting?
I wish there was that kind of time,
yeah.
Sadly, but this is the art of the self-direction.
Mm-hmm.
That is the key. That is one of the reasons that is important to really understand yourself as an actor and to have a technique and to have a way to work, because you are constantly, all of this is self-directing.
Yeah.
When by the time you've done your read and it's come to me, it has to be ready to go.
Yeah.
I don't have the time to go, oh, can we redo that? No, right. No. I have the time just to get it. I have just enough time to get your submission back and listen to it, because I listen to everything, and send that on to casting.
Right.
So it's, so really the development, the skill set, the preparation, all is incumbent on the actor's side of the fence, and to have that content ready. I mean, we've talked about, your equipment, your microphone, and all the things that you need to even be able to submit on the job, because, now because actors are recording from home, you have to have the recording software that makes it broadcast quality. So it's really falling, so it's really upon the actors to prepare and send me a fabulous audition.
Yep. I was look, especially going into the post-COVID auditioning world, you are your own producer and director now. You don't have us with your fancy setup. You don't have us to direct you. You have to really hone in on those skills,
That's right. That's exactly where we are. I mean, we were already heading this way anyway, but with COVID-19, we are immersed, and this is the thing that's allowed voiceover to make the pivot as an industry and keep working. So it's this is where we are. Yeah.
And someone was saying, what about it if someone sends, like if they were submitting for an agent and an acting reel and it had good voice in it? I mean, I think maybe we'll answer that question by talking more about, not necessarily for you, but just in general, what are some to set up an actor smart ways to start submitting to agencies? You obviously need a strong produced reel, like we talked about. Ideally a VO reel, not an on-camera actor.
No, don't send her on-camera reel to a voiceover agent.
Yes.
Don't, because guess what? I'm just going to delete it.
Right.
The end. So, you listen, if you're going to be a professional, you want to be a professional, you have to do what the professionals do. Yeah. And that's true in any business, not just our business. So,
you'll have a strong, produced VO reel. And then I assume, do you take anything else into account? Do you take into account any sort of cover letter, any sort of email, any sort of referral, things like that?
Yeah, I mean, all demos should be submitted via email. A, we're not in our offices, so anything coming in the mail. And B, I don't have a place to play discs anymore. I'm not a fan of opening up flash drives and putting them in my computer. I throw those away, just so you know. I just don't do it. So really, I venture to say this is probably true for my colleagues as well, is just email us.
Yeah.
Just email us, not a long email, but just a little, some highlight, who you are, some highlights, whether, oh, I'm just starting out. If you're starting out, tell us what's that, or who are you training with? Who are you working with? If you're just starting out and you're not telling me who you're working with in training, then I'm going to think, yeah, you're not so serious. Yeah. But if you are working and you're coming from another agency, say, oh, I was at this agency, I'm looking to, switch up my game. Tell me a little bit about that. And then, no, coast to coast voiceover are areas of strength. Animation, video game, ADR, commercial. Yeah. We don't, we're not a big promo trailer, audiobooks, narration. That's, that we're just not, that's not our house. Do your homework. Find out, I've just given you that. Find out what other agencies, where their strength is, and submit there. Don't just, often we'll get, and I say we, my colleagues, every now and again we'll get a submission where they forgot, where the actor forgot to blind CC. So I get to see all of my colleagues, and it's just this blanket letter. And of course, I doubt that anyone gets an appointment from that, because we just sort of feel like, you don't know who you're just submitting, that you're throwing the spaghetti against the wall. Let's see what sticks. Right. And it should be a thought about process. It's your career. So yeah.
We get those same emails. We get actors who have CC'd every casting director in town, and it feels like spam. So I treat it like spam,
Right. Yeah. Be specific. Know what you want.
Yeah, be intentional. If you're gonna email 100 casting directors, first of all, just don't do it. Put a little bit of extra effort first, a little bit, and then at the very least, BCC is a great tool, that can be utilized. But again, there are ways to go about it. So okay, just to clarify some of the sites that.
Just to clarify, just to clarify it, paused.
The sites that you use that are different from me, websites, like, we breakdown services.
Yeah. Honestly, majority, well, let me answer your question. So the sites that we get opportunities on for voiceover are breakdown services, that's theatrically, and then for the commercials, it's Casting Network, Casting Frontier, all of those same sites. But really, for me, majority, probably 80% of my opportunities come from casting directors emailing me directly.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. And once again, that's, that's lengthen the business. Yeah. That's relationships built. That's also, the agency that I'm employed at has a particular cachet out there where casting directors will come to Coast. And that's based on, relationships built at the agency, even prior to my being there, a very strong theatrical department, youth theatrical department. My girls there are just killer. So a lot of work that has been built in that department, I benefit from because of relationships that have been built. Yeah. And also just, overall relationships, that the agency has as a whole. Right. So really, I rely on casting services maybe 20% of the time.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, it's true. I need a solid kid actor. I am running to Reagan.
Those are my girls. Reagan, Meredith, Dana. Sidell.
She's up. You guys know what's up over there. So then, what are some tools that actors, VO artists that are either just getting started or whatever, is there a way for them to self-submit other than Breakdown, or is Breakdown sort of where they would be able to self-submit for VO jobs?
I think there are some services. I think there's a thing called, and once again, I'm just going to tell you that I know of them. I can't endorse them, or I don't know, but I think there's like Voice 123. I think that's a place where content, where actors can self-submit. Okay. And I don't even know if they're still around, but I could be wrong. And if they are, sorry. Voices.com, I think, is also another source, formerly known as Voice Bank, but now it's Voices.com. I think that is also a place where actors can, voice actors specifically, can self-submit. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. So let's talk about quickly the at-home setup, because there's this is something that actors will ask me about, usually always with self-taping, and I'm kind of trying to figure out what works best and whatnot. Do you have sort of some go-to equipment that you were like, you need to get
you know what, I think that because that's a really loaded question, because I think the best answer for that question is, the best equipment is based on what you have at home. So, if you've got your computer, whatever your recording software is, whether it's, Adobe Audition, Twisted Wave, any of those programs are great. And as for like a microphone, that I would say it's based on really what you can, you can spend $100 on a microphone, or you can spend $3,000 on a microphone. Now, you have to sort of look at your budget and try to purchase the best that you can afford, because the better the microphone, because that's your looking glass, so to speak, right? That's what your voice is going to come through. So you want the best quality. Yeah. But if you're starting out, don't go spend $3,000. Right. Do you know what I mean? If you're starting out, try to get the best microphone that you can, that you can afford, and that works for your system. I think that that's probably the best answer I can give. Yeah. And then I also will give you a little plug. A friend of mine who I always send my actors to on, who ask me, hey, I need to get this. I want to interface with this mic and this. And I'm going to send you right to JordanAudioNinja.com. JordanAudioNinja.com. Hey, Jordan, what's up? So go check him out. He's got amazing advice to give. He'll sort of hone it out for you. You tell him what you have at home, what you're looking to do, what kind of voiceover, what your budget is, and he can sort of steer you with options that will work best for you. Excellent. Yay. Oh, that's what's up, Jordan. Yeah, so I would say, in answer to that question, what's that? What'd you say?
Is that the right website that I put up there?
I think it is JordanAudioNinja.com. Yes, that is correct.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. There you go. That now you have a pro who can tell you everything that you're
absolutely, because it's just is all dependent on what you have at home. But I will tell you the key program to have is Source Connect.
Source Connect.
Hello. Yeah, Source Connect is everything, because Source Connect allows you to record the job, not just the audition, but to record the job from home. And and I think they offer a discount for SAG-AFTRA members, so check that out.
Yeah.
And that's the key, because now we're recording these jobs from home. You have to have at least a system that's going to allow the voice to have broadcast quality. Because for commercials, they're taking that right to air. For animation, that's going also right to air. So that is the one program that you cannot skimp on, and you must have.
I'm sure you get, maybe you've seen submissions or clients do this before, but I assume never, ever, ever add any sort of extra element, whether it's like a sound bed or something like that, to your voice, right? To like enhance it in any way.
No, nothing, ever, ever, never, ever, ever, ever. Unless it's asked for.
Okay.
No, and I'm going to say, I only said that to sort of be, open, but I can't even tell you of a time in my career where that indeed was asked for. So we never affect the voice, not at all. No.
What are do you have any sort of tricks of the trade for VO actors who maybe have a big job or audition? Is there anything that, you think kind of is helpful to them?
Work out the material. If it's kind of a big to-do, engage someone else to work it out with you. Either get coached on the material, just find ways to really prepare the material. So it's because, so much of what we do is in a vacuum. You're just in a space, in a room, trying to sort of act all of the information out. And sometimes you need someone to work with you on that material and massage it and make sure you're, that you're really not making any kind of, habitual defaults, if you will, that you do, someone who's going to be able to kind of check you and also inspire you to sort of be outside of yourself in a sense. Yeah.
Do the work.
That's right.
Here about if there are sides, with other actors. I assume that's probably not very common, right?
And that's all you mean. So like a partner kind of a read where you're reading both. Yeah, it's like, well, obviously, with our shelter in place, that's certainly not happening.
Yeah.
But rarely is it. We're always delivering, the material mono, just the one character. That's it. No partner reads in voiceover. Sometimes sometimes that error comes up in younger clients and who've done a lot of live action. That's what they're used to doing, those reads that way, where you have the reader off screen and you're sort of acting to camera. In voiceover, you're just reading your character alone. That's it.
Right. Do you ever, if someone submits and they have a great VO reel, do you ever have them audition with any sort of copy, or is it sort of? Yeah.
Particularly now, because we're not doing in-office meetings. That's how I'm governing all of my new talent meetings. I'm taking a meeting on Zoom first, having a chit chat, getting a feel of the actor and who they are and sort of, kind of what their story is and what they're about. And then, and if I'm interested, then I'll say, hey, listen, I'm going to send you some material, prepare that, send it to me, and we'll go from there. So that's sort of the process right now in terms of that. And it's kind of good. I can, just being able to do it from home and doing like, a 20-minute Zoom is so much less time for coming into the office, having the meeting, going into the booth, you know what I mean? And I can take those meetings and still sort of, handle my desk.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm taking those meetings in the office, I'm not on my desk and things are coming in all day, So I am liking this process in terms of meeting new talent.
Yeah, that's why we'll probably see a lot more auditions for, live action theatrical stuff, because if we're doing a lot of self-tapes, we don't have to base a session around our work day.
Right.
We see a lot of actors at our leisure, which is kind of a good thing.
It is.
Depending on if you have a good setup, if you're good at self-taping, that's, TBD.
It also has increased my work day is much longer because there's just no really, I'm closed. Yeah. It's, I'm getting emails at midnight. I'm getting emails all day. So I have to set my own boundaries now in that respect. I'm like, okay, coast to coast voiceover remote is closed for the day. Exactly.
Don't talk to me. I need to be better at that, especially when
it's a challenge in these days, though. It really is.
Yeah. Sometimes you're just expected to, they expect you to write you back at like 11 p.m. It's like, come on.
Yeah. Hi, how you doing?
People.
We're dead, but okay.
Just for funsies, what's like a fun client success story that you've had?
Oh, okay. Well, yikes, 23 years. I kind of have a few, but I'll give you one of most recent that I think is really inspiring. I have a fabulous client, Isabella Alvarez, I'll say her name, and she plays Ronnie Ann on the Casa Grandes on Nickelodeon. And a year and a half ago, when those auditions, we were fortunate enough to have the actress who played her on the Loud House, because that character was sort of built out of the Loud House, and they built a pilot called the Casa Grandes. Mm-hmm. And so we had the actor who played the character on the Loud House. However, she aged up and her voice kind of shifted, and so they decided for the series they were going to cast a new actress. And I knew exactly, as soon as I got the breakdown, I was like, oh, I know it is. This is Isabella's role. This is it. This is her part. Sometimes as an agent, you just know. Especially I'd worked with them before. I know the buyer, I know Nickelodeon, the team, animation team really well. And so I was like, oh, this is it. Isabella Alvarez, this is your role. And so I sent it on, and the role required that the actress speak some Spanish. So, which is great because it's, Mexican American based show, so which is fantastic, and I'm so totally happy to see.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, and then I was so excited about it, even before I submitted back her actual read. I grabbed some of her previous auditions on other content and a little demo that I had for her, and I immediately sent it off to casting. And I said, "Look no more. This is your girl. This is it. She's your girl." And then casting called me, and they were like, "Oh my God, where's her read? Is she going to be reading?" I said, "Stand by, stand by, stand by. I'm on it." You know, I kind of wanted to bring them in a little bit, get them all excited about her. And so I called immediately. I called Isabella and her dad, Oscar, amazing people. And I said, "Hey, listen, I've got a show. I'm so excited. Boom, here are the sides. Boom, get it back. I already sent in, you know, a sample. They're excited to hear you."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Izzy doesn't speak Spanish." And I'm like, "Oh, let's not worry about that. I said, "But Oscar, you and your wife, you speak Spanish." And they said, "Yes." I said, "So we'll make it work. We're going to make it work. I don't want to hear that. We're making it work." And so, exactly. And so consequently, we sent out so I sent her the sides. She delivered the audition. I sent the audition into casting, and casting was like, "Oh my God, she's perfect. She's great." I said, "I told you. You gotta trust me." Yeah. And so consequently, she auditioned, went to producers, and then we got the offer. She's now plays Ronnie Ann on the Casa Grandes, which just won an Emmy Award, a daytime Emmy on Sunday. So it is indeed a true team effort. Yeah. And success stories. Yeah. So that's you know, and that's it, is having your agent believe in you.
Yes. Yes.
And knowing what your skill set is, even maybe when you're not sure of your skill set. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I knew she was the voice for that show. And the fact that she, you know, didn't speak, wasn't fluent in Spanish really was of no consequence, because she learned it. She's a smart, intelligent girl, and she learned it. So it's, you know, and the show isn't being produced all in Spanish. So we were able to find a way to work it out. And I'm particularly glad that this was able to work out on, you know, a show that shows ethnicity. Yes. In voiceover, which, you know, we've had some issues collectively around that. So I'm happy that it is a show that is diverse, with Latinx talent, Latinx writers, Latinx creators on the show, and to be able to, you know, help bridge that opportunity for a voice is exciting to me, and I'm great, you know, and as a Black agent, I'm happy to be able to do that as well. Yeah. So, you know,
I love it. That's a beautiful story. And it also shows that, you know, you do what it takes to show the actor why they're right for it. I can't tell you how many amazing actors who I have met and have gone on to book series regular roles because the agent sent me past auditions like you did. And I have known that they could do what they can do without that.
That's right. That's right.
And you know that about your client, because you know your client really well, but I don't.
And right. So, that's right. And that's my job, is to present to you, or casting our buyers, that are those clients. And, you know, that's what I do. Yeah. That's my job. I can say that one more time, maybe. I don't know.
And then we just have a couple minutes left, because Instagram's going to kick us off soon. So before they cut us off, I always like to end with a fun little question. If you weren't, you know, in the industry or acting or doing VO, what would you probably be doing?
I would be surfing.
You would?
I would be surfing. I would have redirected my life to, I grew up here in Los Angeles on the beaches of Santa Monica, Malibu, Redondo, Hermosa. I would be, if surfing wasn't, I'd be working in the ocean some sort of way for, you know, either helping to preserve the coral reef, which is endangered, you know, some sort of, you know, when I was in high school, I remember hearing oceanography, and I was like, ugh, why bother? I want theater, you know, but, you know, really, that would be probably, you know, my other life, to have a profession where I'm on a boat, in the ocean, at the sea in some sort of way.
Oh,
That would be my choice.
Are you an Aquarius?
I am not an Aquarius, but I am a water sign, but I'm not an Aquarius. Yes. Well, an Aquarius isn't really a water sign. Aquarius is what the water barrier, like they sort of bring the water. I think it's Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer.
Yeah. I'm an Aquarius. I love just the ocean, and same thing. I went to marine biology, and then I realized how much science was involved. And
exactly. The science part, I'm a creative brain.
Yeah.
But it would definitely be something to do in the ocean, the water, surfing, something in that nature, for sure.
Well, hey, at least you're, not too far from the beach now.
Oh, no. Listen, in our COVID days, it's a little tricky, but I plan to get out as much as I can. I'm in the water.
Good.
For sure.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for this. You are just so incredible to talk to, and so knowledgeable, and so generous with your time and your knowledge and thoughts on all of this. And I just can't thank you enough. It was
thank you so much. I appreciate you asking me, and for the opportunity to speak out. I love this. This is fun.
Your first IG Live, right?
Yeah. What's that? Yes, it is. It's my very first. Absolutely.
And you did great.
Okay, cool.
We raised $40, which is nice.
Okay.
Thank you for everyone who donated. That goes straight to the Bail Project. So I'm glad, we could do something today. If we're going to chat, we might as well, try to.
That's it. And, I think that's the world we're in now. These opportunities to donate and make a way where there wasn't a way is where we are. So it's for all of the sadness of COVID, it has also brought us a lot to think about and to shift our way of thinking as well. So,
and anytime that there's, an audience or some sort of platform, we even just bring awareness is really important right now. So I'm glad that
Indeed.
Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity.
My pleasure. Stay safe. Get to the beach.
Yes, that's tomorrow. All right. Thank you again. Appreciate the time.
No problem. Bye, guys.
Bye.